So, welcome to the Simplify and Thrive Challenge. I'm so excited that you're here. And we are on day 2 and know your offers. I hope that it is working. I'm looking at it live, so that's great. We have the video working today after the problems that we had yesterday. So thank you so much for joining me. I am Heather Cameron, and I'm excited to go into day 2, which is know your offers. And if you have any questions, you're listening to it live, you're listening to the replay, you can answer and get my feedback via email. So if you're signed up for the challenge, you can do that. If not, you can sign up for the challenge through the link and come and join me. So today is I want to thank you first. I want to thank people who stayed with me yesterday when we had some glitchy problems and were able to join live, and people who are able to join the replays as well and have been watching the replays and sending me comments. I really appreciate that. Technology glitches happen, so thank you so much for doing that. And well done for those who actually took the time to do the work and share what you're declaring. Share what you're declaring and how much you're making and how you thought about the business model that you're going to choose. So I want to talk a little bit about, do a recap on day 1, and then we'll dive into day 2. So our schedule is day 1 is your bold vision. It was declaring what you're going to make between now and the end of the year, and also the business model that's going to support that. Day 2, we're going to talk about pinpointing your offers. What are you actually offering? And what does an offer actually mean? I think is a really important conversation to have. Day 3, we're going to talk about shifts to step up, break through those mindsets that are getting in our way. And then day 4 is putting it all together so that you have a high level, simple plan that you can use between now and the end of the year to really hit and exceed your targets. So we talked about the fact that really, when we're doing this exercise, everyone is different. I want you to put together a plan that is you, because we're all in different places in our business. I have clients who are just starting out. I have clients who are pivoting. I have clients who are growing their business, and I have clients who are struggling. Let's face it, we all have moments when we struggle in our business, and I have clients across that board. And so we are all different, and we all are at different places in our business. I had a call with a client last night who was doing something she hadn't done for maybe 2 years, and needed some help to re-understand the strategies and the positioning behind it. And so people are all in different places, and I want you to embrace that and move with that, to know that being in a different place is okay, and don't strive to be like someone else. I want you to strive to be the best that you can be, and I want you to stretch and dream outside, but you don't need to be somebody else's vision. The thing that we talked about yesterday that I want to go over today, because this to me is such a powerful thing, is what type of businesses do you want to be? So I call it my restaurant lens. And we talked about the fact that you can be the fast food or fast delivery, low ticket, high volume delivery in your market. You can be the diner, which is kind of that, lower priced, consistent, know what you're going to get, comfortable place to be. You can be the bistro, which is what I want to be, which is that very unique, tailored, friendly, open the door place you love to go, where people go above and beyond to really cater to what you want. It's kind of quirky. It's kind of different. Not following what anybody else does. The bistro, or you could be that fine dining experience, and in the coaching world, there's a lot of push to be in high ticket items. You could be that high ticket item. And I don't want to push you to that. I want you to be the one that you are. So I am a bistro. That is how I want to be. It's how I've always wanted to be. And it's actually how I came up with the restaurant lens, because I kind of needed to understand what that meant for me and what it meant for other clients that I have. So this is just a powerful way. And if you haven't listened to day 1, go back. I go into this in a lot more detail, but go back and look at what is that bistro lens, right? Sorry, what is the restaurant lens that you want to be? What type of business do you want to be? I had somebody who sent me an email, said they wanted to be the 5-star business. I have other people who are like, yeah, maybe that fast food one will work really well for me. And sometimes, when we think about passive income, and I don't want to delve into this too much because that's not where we're doing today, but passive income can kind of sometimes sit in that fast food place where you're able to repeat it, or the franchise type model, which I didn't put in here, but that's another model, right? Which is repetitive, able to do the same thing, handle high volume. That's typically what passive income sits into. The other thing that we did is we really sat and thought, we're at the end of the year, and thought about what success means for you personally at the end of the year, and what are your success statements that you're going to be. And we went through a visualization exercise to do that, and listing what your 5 top success factors are, and then declaring it. I'm going to make X by the end of 2025. So this one is such an important exercise. It is okay to make money, ladies. It's in fact part of what we need to do as a business. And when we declare the amount that we want to make, it helps us figure out how to get there. So it could be I'm going to make 3,500, or it could be I'm going to make 35,000. It doesn't matter what the number is. I want you to stretch yourself, obviously. I don't want you to have all your limiting beliefs pulling you down. But think about it, and we're going to work through what that means. But make sure that you're declaring it. Share it with me. Share it in the comments if you want. Share it with me. Send me an email. But make sure you're declaring it at least to yourself. Put a target. Put it out there. Where are you trying to go in the next 3 months? I think it's 100 days left today. In the year, what are you going to do in the next 100 days? So that was what we did in day 1. So I want to get into day 2. And day 2 is about knowing your offer. So pinpointing exactly what you're selling and when. And I want to invite you in this particular exercise to really think outside the box, really dream, color outside the lines, and think about what you could do maybe different than what you're doing now, and get into that kind of messiness of creativity that happens when we do this. You may already know what you're selling, and you may not. But we're going to go through what is an offer and what you're doing, and really think outside the lines and create something that's going to excite you. Because the next step of that is to actually take that and put it into action. And what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to be doing on day 4, which is putting all this into an action plan, a traction plan. And I call it a traction plan because the first time we do stuff, it doesn't always work. So we want to create traction and momentum in our business. So I want to ask a question. If you're online, you can comment. If you're listening, send me an email, talk to me about it. But I want to ask you the question about what is an offer? Because I think this term is used without explanation in the industry. What actually is an offer? When we want to say, what offers are you making? What are you doing? I think there's a lot of confusion. And so the first part of an offer is, what is your product or service? Right? So potentially I am selling website design, or I am selling a physical product, or I'm selling a membership, or I'm selling a course, or a one-on-one coaching, or a one-on-one consulting. What is your product or services? Now I put it, for many of us, it's more than one thing. So this exercise kind of works at each level, right? If you've got one product, then go through it. If you have 2 or 3 services, you want to kind of go through it on each one. But what is your product or service? That's not your offer. And this is where I think a lot of confusion happens, and a lot of people don't put all the pieces together because they think an offer is just, I have something to sell. It's kind of like if a tree falls in a forest, does anybody hear it? Because it's got to be, there's more to it than just having the thing that you want to sell. So the next piece of the puzzle is, what's your price and your packaging? And I'm going to go over each of these individually. And the next part of an offer puzzle is, what is your messaging and positioning? And so how are you putting it together? And we're going to talk about that in a second. What is your messaging and positioning? And then the fourth part is, what's the promotion and incentive you're going to do? That's what makes an offer. And we're going to go through each one of these individually to kind of give you some thoughts about how to put this in a direction. So putting that together, structure is the structure for a money-making offer. And that's what we want to have, is money-making offers. And I want you to learn, one of my favorite places to do for people, because I find the confusion happens, and yet people have been selling for centuries. So from that perspective, I want you to learn from retail. So retail is constantly making offers, right? They have products in their store, and they can sit on the shelf forever if they don't kind of bring people's attention to doing that. So in retail, you have tons of things that are making offers. There is the, whoops, my slide's not working. There you go. It's on sale this week. 1-day sale, blowout sale, big sale, special deal, special incentive. They're making money, making offers. So for example, you get a flyer, typically still we get a flyer, or you get an online flyer of what's on sale that week in the store. that chicken is always available in the store, but it's on sale that week. So the chicken isn't the offer. How the chicken is packaged is part of the offer, but the actual offer is that combination of the chicken in its packaging at a particular price with some incentives to buy it. And then they're marketing it by putting out a flyer. One of the furniture stores that's local here, I bought a coffee table from them last year, and I got a very focused set of offers from them. They have their customer appreciation event. There's nothing particular. I mean, they had an across the board sale in their store, but they phoned me. They sent me an email. They sent me a physical mail in the door. And they made, they had their normal advertising, but they pinpointed, because it was customer loyalty, a whole offer around that and what customers got if they came in on, I think it was a 2-day sale. So you got a discount, but we were given an offer. They reached out 3 times, I think, for that. And I didn't go because I wasn't looking for furniture, but that's an example of an offer and a really important thing to think about it. And what retail does really well is they shine a light on what they sell. And that is what I find lacks often in the online world, particularly with women who are a little uncomfortable with selling, is they're not good at actually shining the light on their offers. I had someone on a call recently in August who came in on a call. She had talked about all this great success she had. And I said, and she built her list. She had great success with increasing her followers on Instagram. She had a couple of other things going really well. And I said, have you made an offer? And she's like, no. Right. So she had an always available offer. You could sign up, you could go one-on-one with her. She had something that was always available, but she wasn't telling anybody about it. She wasn't making that offer. And so offers consist of all of these pieces. And it's really important that you think that way when you're trying to hit your goal, because we're all trying to hit what I call the sweet spot. And this is something, think about this in how you sell and how you work. So the sweet spot is when our future clients, they're ready to act. So they're ready to have a change. You can't sell to somebody who doesn't want to do what you sell, right? They have to be ready. They know, like, and trust you. And your offer is in front of them at the moment that they're ready to act. That's when somebody becomes a client. So they're ready to act. They know, like, and trust you, and your offer is in front of them. There's only 2 out of 3 of those things that we control. We can nudge the other one, but we control building know, like, and trust. And know, like, and trust honestly can happen in a moment, or it can happen over months. I've had people who I've met on a networking event, set up a coffee chat, and they became a customer in a half an hour. I've had that happen. They became my client. I've also had people who are on my email list that I didn't know about, who phoned me up after a year and said, hey, I really want to work with you. When do we start? Right. And so that know, like, and trust can happen over a period of time. We have to put our offer in front of them. We can't make them work to go figure out where our offer is. So we have to put the offer in front of them so they can choose whether they want to do it. And then they're ready to act. Now, sometimes people are ready to act but hesitant, and we can nudge them. And that's what incentives are about. That's what time sensitivity is about. We're nudging them. We're helping them get over all of the reasons why they might be hesitant. But if they're not ready to act, they will not become our customers, right? If they're not ready to do the change, or they're not ready to take the step, if they're not ready to do that, they will not join. But if they're kind of hedging the fence and not sure, if you position things and give them a really solid offer, then they're likely to buy from you versus buying for someone else. I can give a great example of this one, and I'll probably go in it more in the next masterclass. But there was a time when I was a huge networker. I was out there. I had tons of know, like, and trust, and I had tons of people who were ready to act, but I wasn't putting my offer in front of them. And I remember once asking somebody, why did you go buy from someone else? And she's kind of, because I didn't know you were looking for clients. My bad, right? And so that's the important components of really hitting the sweet spot. And that's why an offer is more than just having a product and service. It's a combination of things. So let's go into that. So 2 parts to hitting your target is putting your offer out there and creating an incentive and events. So I might have repeated a slide here. There you go. I was editing them this morning. So let's go over each component. The product and services. So what are you offering? And I want you to think about between now and the end of the year. What are you offering between now and the end of the year? Are you using what you already have, which is perfectly fine? Are you going to offer the products and services that you already have? Are you going to build something new? That's fine too, right? I have a client who is new. So she's building something new, and we're working on what her Black Friday offer is going to be and what her offer in December is going to be. I have another client who is an existing offer, but she's massaging them and changing them and selling them in a different way. So she's taking her existing offer, been really successful. She's repackaging it a little bit and changing some of the next steps. Break a piece out to create a lower medium offer. So if you've got like some complicated program, do you have the opportunity to break a piece out and make something smaller, which is a great, by the way, Black Friday offer if you can, similar to, bundling stuff together and creating something unique. So what is the products and services that you are going to sell for this next 3 months? And we'll talk about this on day 4, but really, you can only sell so much during that time. You may have one huge big campaign and only sell one thing. You could be selling every day, right? So you could have something that sells every day. You're going to have a strategy, but what is it that you're selling? Don't make it complicated, because complication will confuse people. So don't try and put out 30 different things. If they don't have a cohesive story, confused people don't buy. So double down on simplicity, which is why it's simplify to thrive. Double down on simplicity and think about, well, maybe I can sell 2 or 3 things. For me, I like to sell one major thing a month sometimes. So that could be my focus. For our Scrapbooking Fun Summit, which we run in November, we're selling one big thing, and a lot of work goes to that one event. And then we're selling off the back end of that, our membership. So we have 2 sale focuses between now and the end of the year. We probably will throw in a Black Friday special, but those are the main things that we are selling. We know what we're selling. We're selling our summit packages. We're selling a sponsorship to our summit. We know that we're selling our circle, our membership. And we are also potentially going to throw together a little bundle for something for Black Friday. So there's an example of a really simple strategy that we're going to do for the next 3 months, 100 days, I believe it is today. I may be wrong. So again, what could you create? Well, you could create a new offer. You could do an audit. So if you're creating something new, you could do an audit. You could do an intensive. Great way for coaches and website designers and social media experts, things like that, dietitians, physical fitness, all of these different things. You can create an intensive. You can create a workshop. You could do like a VIP day. You could have a done for you in a day or a week. Those are options. Maybe you have a membership. What I want you to do is just kind of look at what you already have, decide if those are the things that you're excited to sell in the next 100 days. And if you do want to create something new, create something that's really impactful, because that's going to be easier for you to sell in the short term. And 100 days, by the way, is short term when it comes to this stuff. So what's your pricing and package? So think about, are you pricing your offers low end, medium price, or high price? Because remember, we had a dollar goal. We had a financial goal that we had in day 1. Well, there's lots of ways to get to that financial goal, right? So what price points are you going to package these? If you're selling 2 to 3 things, what is your price point that you're going to package them at? And then how are you going to structure it? How are you going to deliver it? What does it look like? And how does that come together? So for example, I'm working with a client who wants to do a lot of training videos, and she was going to package it in a course. And we really looked, she was going to package it in a course at probably a medium price. And we looked at that and we thought, well, that's a lot of work for you to keep doing that and having to sell every individual course. So flipping that and saying, okay, we're going to package this as a membership. Each month there's new content. So people buy the membership and they keep paying on a monthly basis. And she's not selling individual courses. She's selling the value of the membership. And so that's a packaging and a structure and a price point. And so we have her offer, which is particular training in the space that she's in. And we are going to package it, and the structure of it is going to be a membership, so that she's selling one thing, not individual courses, and building in recurring revenue. So for her, it's a fantastic model. But that's an example of packaging. So you want to think about, what's the offer, what's actually there, how am I packaging it, and what are my price points? And when you think, I don't know what happened to the other part of this slide. So numbers, when you think about numbers, if your goal is $2,000, let's say you're going to do one of your campaigns that you're going to do to get to your end goal is to make $2,000. Well, you can make $2,000 in very different ways. And that's why We have a financial goal, but there's different ways we can do it. We could sell a $2,000 offer. We only need one. We could sell two $1,000 offers or four $500 offers, right? So it really is math, or $2,100 offers. They're all true, and they all kind of map to the different business models that we talked about. So you have a financial goal. You're going to break it down to how many offers you're going to make, and then how many of those offers do you need to sell to get to your goal. Business is all about math. Another example for this really is that, if you wanted to make $25,000 between the end of in the next 100 days, you could sell one $25,000 offer. You're that 5-star restaurant, maybe you're a website agency, and you're going to go after one mega big customer, and you're going to sell one and make $25,000. Then you're going to deliver it over the next 3 months. That's an example. Maybe you are a coach and you sell your coaching practices for $5,000, or even staying on the website design part. You design websites. Well, if you're going to do websites for $5,000, which is a medium price, you need 5 customers. Let's say you are doing coaching for myself, right? Maybe I need 10 customers at $2,500, right? Or maybe you're doing something where you're kind of doing a repetitive, it's a membership, a 250 customers at $100, and you could divide that by 3. But you get the idea of this, is that work at the math. Know how much you want to make and how does those numbers come together. That helps you establish your price, right? A lot of people kind of get anxious about their pricing and do that. People will buy anything. One of the examples I like to use is a candle. You can buy a candle at a dollar store. You can buy a candle at Fifth Avenue Saks, right? They cost $1 and they cost $2,000. They still do the same thing, but there's an audience for everything, and that goes along with the restaurant analogy. So working out how you're going to get to your end target by figuring out your numbers will really help you. I have some ChatGPT prompts, so you can come back and screenshot this, or screenshot it now. If you want some help, here's some prompts you can give to ChatGPT. I need to hit insert your cash number in 90 days. My audience is this. I currently offer, so insert your different offers. And I have exciting resources like this. So kind of give them what you have if it doesn't already know it. And what can I do with these to create a money-making offer? I'm interested in, ideas that you might have. Please give me some suggestions at these 4 different price points. So it's going to help you. Or you can change this and say, this is what I have. What do you suggest I price it at? I have done that exercise. I actually did that exercise in August. And I raised my prices on one of my products by doing this exercise. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what my clients are. Where do I fit? ChatGPT knows my bistro model, knows where I personally want to be in my business, and coming up with a price point. So it can be a real great tool to do that, and you can play with different prompts to get there. Messaging and positioning. So messaging and positioning, you want it to be clear. You want it to be emotional, and you want it to be relevant. You can't sell something that isn't clear. If you can't explain it, and I put this out in an email yesterday in my newsletter, was most successful companies can explain what they do in less than 10 words, and they stay focused on that thing. So you want to be super clear, and most people buy emotionally. Even businesses to some extent. So if you're in B2B or B2C, you have a different incentive to buy, but most people buy from an emotional place. And so what is that emotional connection? It's either to get away from something, right? It's either to fix a problem or to go someplace. And there's 5 or 6 different categories of why people buy, but we still generally buy emotionally. The other time people buy, it's the shiny object syndrome. And one other place that people buy, which is not as emotional, in fact, there's often resistance, is compliancy, right? So we have to do certain things in our business. So we spend money on those to be compliant. It's not always where we want to spend our money. So that one's a slightly different one, but there's still an emotional involved in that you want to feel like you're investing in the right place. And then relevance. Is it relevant? Is your message showing why this is relevant for someone else? And positioning is about experience. It's about value. It's about results, right? And I'll give you one quick positioning statement that I've used in the past, which is when we think of Airbnb. Airbnb has 2 positioning statements, which is one would be, stay locally, right? Save money, stay locally, get the local experience. The other one, which people don't often think about, is the best way for you to make extra money is to rent out part of your property, right? So their positioning and their value statements are very strong. So you want to think about what is that positioning statement that you have that's part of your offer so that you can articulate that so your message becomes clear. And so that's what positioning is all about. Ah, my icon didn't show up. The next one is promotion and incentives. So promoting is putting it in front of people. It's that grocery flyer where we put it out and we say, for this week, we are going to be promoting something. We are going to put it out there. We are going to do it. It's how, when, and where, right? And there's lots of different promotion strategies that you can see, but it really is about putting it in front of people and how, when, and where are you going to be selling this? And the incentives are reasons to buy. We need to have a reason to buy. The grocery store analogy is the best. And I will give you my personal example on this one just last week. I don't know about you, where you live, but coffee prices have soared here in Canada. And so I am a coffee drinker. I love my little coffee. I have my favorite brand, and they went on 50% off last week. Not only did I buy it, I went have to go to like 3 stores to get it, but there was a reason to buy it when it's always in the store. I can always buy coffee, but I needed a reason to buy it, and they gave me a reason to buy it. Of course, I'm going to buy it when I don't have any left, but there was a reason for me to actually get 3 of them because the price was so good. And so giving people incentives or reason to buy is a really important part of it. So that's promotions and incentives. It's that creating a special deal and shouting it out to people. And here's some examples of how you can shout it out. So, we have a social media campaign. We have an email campaign to your list. You could host a free event like I'm doing right now. And yes, I'm going to be transparent. I'll be making an offer at the end of this, right? Whether you're ready to buy, like, and trust me, and my offer is in front of you, that's what I'm trying to hit, right? So I will have an offer at the end of this. But you're still getting value out of it whether you accept my offer, and I'm building know, like, and trust. So hosting my event can help really do that. Excuse me. Follow up. So another way that you can shout it out is to reach out to past and current clients or potential leads. Follow up and have that. A lot of the sale is in the follow-up, especially if you're doing high end, right? There's a different strategy if you're doing low end, if you're doing that $9 fast food sale and versus you're doing the fine dining. There's a different strategy in what you want to do, but that's another way to shout it out. Ask for referrals is another one. So let's say you're a website designer, you can ask for referrals. Does anybody need a website? There's lots of different ways to really ask for the sale, but just having the great product or service, having it on your shelf and not out there promoting it, it's really difficult to get sales. And I meet many entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs who are in that position. Then give them a reason to sell. So example, limited amounts, flash sale or a discount, time limited, it starts tomorrow. Offer a 2-for-1 special or a BOGO special, exclusive VIP upgrades. There is a lot of ways to make things, give people a reason to buy, and it needs to have some sort of parameter around it. And it needs to be something that you personally can stand by, right? And so make sure that when you're doing and giving them a reason to buy, it's something that you're committed to. I did on August, as I mentioned, I went through in ChatGPT. I put one of my courses in, one of my coaching programs. I raised the price. I told people by the end of August, the price is going up. So that can be a reason to buy, right? Now, maybe somebody who saw that wasn't ready and they might buy it a month or 2 from now, but they have that reason. So you want to create reasons to buy that make sense that you can stand by. And putting that all together helps you hit the sweet spot. They're ready to act, your offer is in front of them, and they know, like, and trust you. And the most important part of all of this is if your offer is not in front of them, when they are ready to act, they are going to buy from someone else. It's as simple as that. So if you're not putting your offers out there, if you're not letting people know this is what you have and it's available right now and you have space, one of my, I was going to say mentors, someone I follow and really respect, she puts offers out there months in advance. She'll go, I know, she's somebody who does one-on-one only work. She'll put an offer out like a month or 2 in advance and say, I have a client, I have a space freeing up. So she would, it's September. She may say, I have a space freeing up on November 1st. If you'd like to be part of that, here's the process to get in there. So you can make offers in many different ways. But if it's not out there, people are going to buy from someone else. And that's such an important thing to take away from today. We don't control when they're ready to act. We really don't, but we have to have the other parts in place. And so putting it all together, this is your money-making offer components that you want to think about. It's about having irresistible messaging. It's about putting it and packaging it and then knowing when you're actually going to sell it and planning that out. We're going to talk more about that on Friday, but I just want you guys to really think about, what are your offers now? What are the things that you are going to be offering? What's the price and packaging that's going to go together? What's your messaging and positioning? And how are you going to promote it, and what incentives that you would put on? That work will really move you towards getting the results that you want in the next 100 days. And that's what I focus on when I work with clients. That's one of the key parts, is putting this together so that you are going out there with the things that are actually going to work. And from a declaration point of view, I want you to declare this for yourself. Again, we declared how much you want to make. Now we want to figure out actually what the numbers are that are going to put it together. So it may be, I'm going to sell 5 website design packages by the end of 2025, right? High-end website designer, I'm going to sell 5 of them. That, you can just think about how that it helps her marketing, right? If you're looking to design your website before the end of the year, I have 5 spots left for this. So it can help the scarcity, that even builds in scarcity because she has 5 spots. She declares that, and that's going to get her to the number of whatever financial thing that she needed to do. And it may be a combination of things. For someone like myself, it would be a combination of things that I sell between now and the end of the year. I have 3 or 4 products that I sell for my own business. In our scrapbooking business, we have kind of 2 or 3. So it's going to be a combination of things. So here's an example. I'm going to sell 25 spots in my membership by the end of 2025, and I'm going to sell 5 private coaching packages by the end. That would be a very normal one for a coach who runs high-end coaching with a membership at a lower end. And so just declaring that, because it becomes tangible. I find that money isn't as tangible as spots and people, right? So I'm going to make $35,000. It's not very tangible. It's very out there. It's what I would call an aspirational goal. But when you bring that and say, well, I need to sell 25 spots in my membership, I need to get 5 private coaching, it starts to break down the actions, and it starts to really focus us and simplify what we're doing so that we can build that traction, so we can get the results that we want. And so really thinking about, what is it that you want to sell? How many things do you want to sell of what before the end of the year? So declare it for yourself. Write that down. That is really going to help you move things forward. And I mentioned this yesterday, if this is something you want to chat about, you want some help, this is in your emails as well. You can book a one-on-one. It's complimentary, just to see what the first thing you need to focus on, what's really going to actually move you forward in your business to create the offers that become irresistible. And there's more than one thing that comes together to make an irresistible offer. And so for day 2, what your homework is, I always hated the word homework, what your assignment is to capture your offers. Like, really think about, there's 100 days. What can you do in 100 days? Give or take a few days. What's your plan? Think about monthly. And we'll break this down on Friday, but Friday on day 4. Think about it monthly. What are those individual things that you're going to sell? Have a plan and understand, what's the process? How are you going to sell it? And just high level at this moment, but getting and capturing that. So what's the price and the number that you need to sell to hit your target? List 3 to 5 reasons somebody would buy. So get into that emotional connection. People, and not what you, I could do a whole nother video on what I'm about to say, but you have to sell to what they want, not what they can get. Right? And so what are the reasons? Where are they at? And what are the reasons somebody would buy from you for that product? And how will you sell it? And we'll talk about the timeline, just kind of plop it down in the draft, but that's kind of our exercise on Friday. But what are the things that you're going to sell in those days? Because that is going to drive all your actions, because it's going to bring out, what do you need to create? What do you need to do? So that's it for today, day 2 of the Simplify to Thrive challenge. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't listened to day 1, go back and listen to it, because declaring it and really connecting with your business model helps you streamline this exercise. And that's what this is all about, is creating simplicity. Knowing your offers and putting them together is going to create the clarity that we need. And we're going to talk about the actions and the plans on Friday. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about shifts to step up. What are the things that we need to change? What are the things we need to let go of? We all have them. And some simple exercises for you to help you kind of isolate them, figure them out, and move forward with some real energy to be able to finish 2025 strong. So thank you so much. I'd love to see what you're going on this. So drop me an email, send me an email, and I will answer it. Any comments or questions that you have, where your homework is, you can put it in the comments here on YouTube. And we will talk to you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for day 3, which is